report is available at constitutionproject.org, as I say, free of charge, so please spread it around. And now, let me introduce my good friend, Steve Bright, who's the president and founder of the Southern Center for Human Rights. Steve is one of the country's most eloquent and effective advocates for a fair criminal justice system. His constant fight for systemic change led the Fulton Daily Law Report, Georgia's legal newspaper, to name him Newsmaker and Agitator of the Year for his contribution to bringing about the creation of a public defender system in Georgia, which I know is now basically kaput. I believe he's most proud about the agitator part, and we should all hope he never stops. Steve.
Thank you, Jenny, and good evening, everyone. It's my great honor, privilege, and pleasure tonight to just introduce the people who will be receiving this recognition for the heroic roles that they played not only in Gideon versus Wainwright, but ever since. And in one case, introducing the person who will give the award to that person. As we all know, Gideon held that any person who's hailed into court and can't afford a lawyer is entitled to one. And it's because lawyers are essential to fairness in our criminal justice system, but also, as the court said that day, so that everyone stands equal before the law. The same day, the Supreme Court decided Gideon and decided Douglas versus California and held that people had a right to a lawyer on appeal, and repeated there what it said earlier in Griffin versus Illinois: there can be no equal justice when the kind of justice a person gets depends upon the amount of money they have. Well, of course, we know that's not true. Today, nothing could matter more than how much money a person has in terms of the kind of justice they receive. The current Attorney General has said that the state of poor people representation is a crisis. Almost everyone has acknowledged that we are not following the constitutional requirements set down in Gideon. I always remind people, Gideon didn't say having lawyers would be a good idea. They said it was constitutionally required. And yet, in the work that I do, we have no counsel courts, that is, courts with no lawyers at all. We have counsel in name only, that is, lawyers who just pretend to be. We have what you saw on the screen there, meet 'em and plead 'em, where those people that you saw pleading there met a lawyer for all 3 to 5 minutes, and the lawyer pled about 40 people guilty after that 3 to 5 minute meeting. And then we have what we often refer to as walking violations of the Sixth Amendment. But all of that, and all of the shortcomings in places like Georgia and Alabama and Texas, and I won't go through all the other states, does not diminish the decision in Gideon versus Wainwright. It established the lodestar of our aspirations as a society. We may not be there yet, but it tells us what kind of people we want to be, what kind of justice system we want to have, and what we hope to someday accomplish. It's been realized here, more in Washington than almost anywhere else, with the Public Defender Service here, which is the premier public defender service in the country. But it's been recognized in other places, and where it has been, people have received the same zealous representation that those with money have. In Colorado today, some people say you get a better representation from the public defender than you will get from any private criminal lawyer that you will hire. Unfortunately, that's not true in a lot of other places. But where Gideon's been realized, the accused have been counseled, their questions have been answered, they've received professional advice and advocacy about their case in this very foreign world of the criminal courts. The innocent have been protected from wrongful convictions. Those facing the death penalty and other extreme punishments had not suffered those punishments in many cases because lawyers marshal the evidence about them and their backgrounds and their lives in mitigation of those punishments. And the people we recognize here tonight were not only there in 1962 and 1963 when Gideon was pending and ultimately decided by the Supreme Court, but they were tireless advocates of the right to counsel ever since. I want to first mention Walter Mondale, as the film pointed out, when Florida asked after cert was granted in Gideon for other states to come in and support a file friend of the court briefs and support of its position that there was no, that this should be left to the states. It is a matter of states' rights. The federal government shouldn't interfere with the right to counsel. And the word went out to all these attorney generals, Bush Jacobs asked to come in on Florida's side. we better not spend too much time thinking about what would happen if that request went out today. Because today, denying accused people adequate representation is an accepted strategy by many, not all certainly, but many prosecutors for enhancing their chances of winning cases. But in 1962, Walter Mondale was the young Attorney General of Minnesota, and like the Attorney General of the United States at the time, Robert Francis Kennedy, he was concerned about fairness. He was concerned about the integrity of the courts. He was concerned about a properly working adversary system. And he started the effort, which you saw described there, to convince 22 states to come in, not on Florida's side, but on Gideon's side, in support of the right to counsel, in support of equal justice, and in support of fairness. It made a huge impact. It was cited in Justice Black's opinion for the unanimous court. As some of you know, Walter Mondale continued in government service after that, becoming one of the great statesmen in our country. But tonight we recognize the extraordinary leadership that he provided in the case of Gideon versus Wainwright. And here to present the award is the senator from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar.